Well, hello. We're going over this today. The continuation follows iPhone 14. Why Americanish? Because this model is designed for the American market and comes without a subscriber identity module card. So we have 14 article. It has LLA. This is a phone that is intended for the American market. Accordingly, that's why it doesn't have a subscriber identity module card. Now, there are 3 types of phones. This is exactly such a device that doesn't have a subscriber identity module card at all. It's a phone that has 2 physical subscriber identity module cards. They don't have FaceTime audio. That is, when buying, be sure to clarify this point. And there are phones that have both a regular subscriber identity module card, where you insert plastic, and you can add electronic subscriber identity module cards. This started with 14, 14, 14, and 14. But, by the way, there is a way out if your phone only has an e-subscriber identity module card. In the country where you are, these subscriber identity module cards are simply not provided for. There are services that allow you to make a subscriber identity module card and use the internet. And as we know, if there is internet, then there are all messengers. You can still make calls through Telegram, WhatsApp, Viber. Oh, this one, of course, it's better not to use, but nevertheless, you can use it. You will be in touch. We don't really call anyone now. Mostly everything is resolved through the internet. Maybe a voice message was sent and it's already okay. And so to say, hello, I want to call a taxi to Pushkin Street, Kolatushki Avenue, there's nothing like that now. With internet access, you're always connected. I would very much like to see how this device is set up, which does not have a subscriber identity module card, especially such a beautiful violet iPhone. I think 3 bits is enough for me. Let's start with the first pentagon. The device is fully functional. I just want to see how it's set up and possibly tell you about some features there. In the process of this disassembly, we turn it off and dive in. The complexity of opening this phone is a curse from moisture, which has killed more than one iPhone. People often think so. We saw in the advertisement that you can swim with an iPhone. First of all, the advertisement never showed people actually swimming. Someone's phone fell into the pool, but that's all that happened. I absolutely do not recommend swimming with an iPhone. This seal and moisture protection, it depends on many factors. How fast you will dive into this water, whether this water will be salty or not salty. For example, if you ride on hydrocycles, then water can get into the speaker under such pressure, it will definitely get in. And if moisture gets on the sensors, they go out of order, they break quickly, and then they can't be restored. Moreover, now is such a time that official service centers in Russia do not take anything for repair. So sometimes they change some nonsense for minor things. And there's another thing. The phones have this moisture protection. It gets ruined over time. This could be due to temperature effects. Plus, over time, this sealant becomes more of a liquid, right? Consequently, water gets into the device. And the third factor is mechanical damage. That is, it fell a little bit, its body bent a little, and that's it. And water can seep in through these cracks. We will try this moisture protection and lift this seal to see what's inside. The phone needs to be heated up well. Heated either with a special hairdryer or a cover that heats the surface. But we will do all this as if we were at home. I have such a thing here. A blade from an office knife. Of course it all looks rough and scary. Malishova says this is normal. Spirits will add spirits, and it can help us. We are against alcohol consumption, but in this case it can help us here. Disassemble this device. I'm drilling straight through like this, and the spirit goes right into the shell. By the way, yes, what's the moisture protection? I tried it a little bit with a knife, and that's it. And the spirit goes in there. Mom, don't worry, I'll do it right here now, from this edge, from the bottom. Why don't I pull it with a suction cup? Because often there is such a thing as the display frame. It starts to tear away from the glass, and the display comes out of order. Stripes appear on it. It seems like these stripes can be removed with heating. But I think it's better to do everything at once. Normally, well, how normal? So that the display does not break. I insert the blades between the body and the display frame. By the way, it doesn't harm either one or the other. So there's contact, or rather the opposite. Once contact occurred, the adhesive came off. This American turned out to be quite submissive. I use such a thin plastic as we see. There are no stripes on the display. Everything is fine. It opened without damage, and this is very pleasing. I'd go in so deep. We don't go there. We don't push in. We don't push in deeply, literally 2 millimeters, no more, and we pass through. We pass. At the top of the display here is not only that, the speaker. There are also such special fasteners here, behind which the display is held. I think it's worth adding a spirit level there too. Once I wanted to change the battery on the iPhone 12. I didn't know then that there is such a story that the frame peels off from the glass and the ribbon cable breaks. Well, what about that? And in the end, I opened, and I got stripes on the display. I had to change both the battery and the display. Well, in short, there is nothing pleasant in this. The main thing is just not to rush. It opens very accurately, so this phone is to the left. That's it. Earlier, the iPhone sliders were on this side, but now, starting with the 12th, it seems they are already on the left until you can turn it off. These prints are compatible with the display, which I didn't know. It's not worth tilting it too much. Everything went into action. We will need a triangular wrench here to unscrew these screws on the motherboard. What a huge battery. So this is it. This is the battery. And just a little bit of iPhone brains. How do they manage to cram such power into such chips? Small? What I would like to see how the antenna is arranged here. Where does it go? How does it connect? Because there's no subscriber identity module card, there's not even a slot for a subscriber identity module card. There's just nowhere to put it. Look at the modules, cameras inside. I remember when the iPhone 14 Pro Max came out, it was so unusual, such huge cameras. Now it's okay, but the first time you see it, you think, oh my, yes, there's some kind of catch. Yeah, found this little guy who was holding us back. All this little piece, and another little piece gets stuck somewhere there. Carefully, don't rush. Oh, it's done so unusually that... It's done unusually. So the shield somehow hides behind the sleeve of the dynamic conversation. Remove the display. What do we see on it? The ribbon cable, which is responsible for the image for the touchscreen. That is, everything is in one ribbon cable, not like before, separately. A ribbon for the speaker, something similar to a microphone. Will it be possible to peel this off without any heating equipment? What is the display made of? So, well, we understood that this is a frame to which the display is attached, it turns out, specifically the glass, in which both the touchscreen and the module with the matrix are located. Here I have disconnected the shield that covered the sensor. Anyway, there's something here. I don't know what it is, well, it's something like either a proximity sensor when we bring the phone to the ear and our display goes out, or something there. Microphone, one of the microphones, because there are a bunch of these microphones. And here we see that there is a front camera, a camera 4. It makes this shot with the help of lasers. And here's the sensor. This one, similar to a light sensor, sensor A. Well, yes, most likely this is the sensor when it regulates the temperature specifically on the display and backlight. I would like to look at the camera. This phone has 3 cameras, a standard camera, a wide angle, and a telephoto. The telephoto is a camera that zooms in without losing quality, meaning there's a lens that immediately brings closer without digital zoom. There are so many screws on the shield. I don't know why there are so many. Well, at the very least, I think it's worth unscrewing 4 pieces and see what happens next. Well, we all know that phones are assembled. Not in America, but somewhere in other countries. Yeah, 4 bolts, 4 screws. I constantly confuse this bolt and screw. Damn, why does this happen? I don't understand. Okay, we've removed this shield and we'll try to clamp the hoses. Such parts, I think, they are normally worth it, money must. I've already said that yes, there's no subscriber identity module card here, and it's somewhat inconvenient in a way. But there's a plus if, for example, you lost your phone, then no one can get your regular plastic subscriber identity module card. Insert it into any random device and activate some messenger on it, and then from there do some fraudulent mailing, or go into social networks and also engage in something unclear. In this plus of a phone, which has, when you lose your phone, the maximum that can be done is to turn it off. But starting from 11 or 12, such a theme that even a switched-off phone transmits its geolocation. If you have a regular phone or even an unusual phone, but it has a plastic subscriber identity module card, I advise you to set a personal identification number code on the subscriber identity module card. This is exactly what will protect you from such scammers who will get the subscriber identity module card and launch some services on their left devices. Useful information. Always use it, please. Some people use eSIM so that just in case, if some people in special clothes come, take the phone and want to look at something. And because there's an eComp subscriber identity module, the phone will always be with us with internet access, and it can be blocked, remotely erased, and all that. I don't use it myself, but some people do. I usually keep it with them. This super mega camera looks very cool. I see flying shadows. What am I seeing here? This is exactly what we see, that he has such a protruding one. The lens is so small because it takes a wide angle. This is a standard 1x camera, this is 0.5, and this is a telephoto. It's so healthy, the biggest, it's above all, even if you compare it like this. This is a standard camera wide angle and telephoto. She's so healthy, she rises above everyone. She's the one who does this 3 times. Lens approximation. Well, by the way, if you break the lens on the iPhone, some masters suggest simply not disassembling the phone, just smash it into smithereens. Just pull out all these shards. Half will fly out here, half inside, and the camera may break after some time. Because the camera, you see, it works. This is stabilization. When we move our hand, the camera responds and seems to stay in place. Because there is a special gel inside. The gel is such a shock absorber and these fragments fall into it. The camera starts to go crazy, you turn it on and it just shakes like this. So, most likely either something got in there or there is some problem with this gel. If, God forbid, it happened to you that the lens broke, then go to the service that will tell you, dear, we will completely disassemble everything, remove all the shards from inside, all this stuff, clean it, and glue in a new lens. That's a good service, you can go there. Those who just mess around go away, that's it. They got the camera. The most interesting part for me was this. What? Let's start probably from the bottom connector. There we have a speaker as well. A crosshead screwdriver is already used here. We've run. We get it. I've lost a screw somewhere again. Here it is found. Disassembling phones and equipment is generally a meditative activity, you know. Now we quickly, okay, speaker. How do you hold on? Speaker. This is a polyphonic speaker. It is attached to the Taptic engine. Taptic engine is a motor, a vibrator, so-called. Why not a vibrator? But because there is a completely different technology used. If in a vibrator there is such a rotor that spins, and it most often has such a load with a shifted center of gravity, as a result it begins to oscillate, to shake. It turns out this is the vibration. Another screw was needed here. I forgot that such a screw is needed here, but everything worked out. In general, there is such an interesting screwdriver. It's a cross one. Here I will show it. This is a cross screwdriver, plus there is such a pin in the center, but I managed with the help of just a regular cross one. Once. In this place is the haptic engine. It is just detached from the main lower slider. Here, a magnetic mechanism is already used. It vibrates strongly and sharply. That is, it gives such a momentary click. And it contains oil, special oil. If there is a problem with this haptic engine, the oil leaks out and it starts to creak, crack. The sound is metallic. It turns out to be metallic. Either it completely goes out of order. And this is a polyphonic speaker. The polyphonic speaker is powered by the lower flex. Here is the large lower flex through which the charge goes. The microphones are connected here. By the way, here is the first microphone. It was such a grooved insert so that the phone would not be filled with water. Such a rubber thing. It fits tightly to the speaker and does not allow water to penetrate further, and it allows to protect the phone from water. So let's remove the protection and see what's behind it and what we have here. This shield also has some kind of seal, and where it is sealed, here is not just a seal. Here a microphone is attached to this shield. It was how it was made. This shield has a seal. And it turns out, in order to properly unseal it and get access to the microphone, here is the whole microphone system, plus noise reduction, noise cancellation, voice isolation. To remove it, we unscrewed everything, just a little, moved the charging connector aside, and it comes off. Behind it are the microphones. Here is a microphone, and here is a microphone. Okay, and how is the battery removed? Here are the tabs. These are the tabs of this sticker. They need to be very carefully attached. Pull on them. If everything is successful, they do not tear, and the battery is removed. And if not, then you'll have to come up with something. Very bad, I forgot the tweezers. Something started to twist. I hook it up like this, twisting it. When there's such a crack, it's very good. It means everything is going evenly. Normally, if there's no sharpness here, then it just stretches, and most likely it will tear now. It seems so small, this one. So, how much will the battery last? I'll leave a piece of tape on the screwdriver to attach the next battery. First, we peel it off like this, and then we'll start pulling. Well, overall, I'm not gonna, let him make everything perfect. No, I'm not going to deal with this now. You can hammer the top button on it and just gently lift the battery. The main thing is that it doesn't break and doesn't bend. Model 2830 at 11. It was interesting. His battery was attached to both the board and the lower slot. For what? I don't know. Probably to charge faster. Wow, by the way, is such a plastic thing. Usually here is where the subscriber identity module card slot is located. And here is the place where the connector should be under the sheath. Well, by the way, this is the difference of the American phone, the difference of the antenna. Now we will remove, it turns out, the motherboard and see, after all, is this a clog or what is it? And this is some kind of shield. Oops, next to the camera there are some tricky screws here. I don't have such a screwdriver right now. This is also a Phillips screwdriver with such a pimp. Here is a LiDAR. LiDAR is a sensor that allows you to measure the distance to an object. Probably it's convenient when focusing occurs during photo shooting or something like that during video. Or you can use this LiDAR to make 3D models of objects. How to use this in everyday life? Honestly, I don't know. So if the LiDAR breaks, what will change in your life? As if probably nothing will change. I'm gradually removing the heat sinks from the motherboard. Here is the top speaker, and of course we must remove it. We need to check everything. This is my first time disassembling this device. I enjoy neatly disassembling everything like this. I unscrewed 2 screws and that's it. The top speaker is removed. If you compare the top speaker and the bottom one, this is the top speaker and this is the bottom one. So this is the vibrator. I'm covering it. That is, in terms of size, in terms of volume, they are almost identical. That's why it can do stereo. It starts playing music from both the top and bottom speaker. When we watch something, for example, horizontally, the same YouTube, it processes stereo very easily. By the way, there is a module with an identification camera, the true depth camera. Through depth, through depth, through depth, through there, through the camera. This is the true depth camera, or as we call it, the true depth camera for face identification operation. It scans and sends out pulses. By the way, I just remembered something interesting for conspiracy theory enthusiasts. This is the camera that scans your face, even when your phone is unlocked, whether you're on social media or doing something else. It takes a snapshot once every 10 to 15 seconds. I don't know why this happens. Maybe it's to understand that it's specifically you behind the phone or something else. How can this be seen? You can film it with another phone and see flashes indicating the camera is scanning something. Why do we need them there? Here they are. Americans bought all these iPhones. And they send all this data across the ocean, but why do they send it there? I don't know, something will happen next. So we turn it off. These are antennas, Wi-Fi, and other components. By the way, we have a clever antenna that is only available in the American iPhone. Looking for a triangular screwdriver to unscrew something here. The screw holds something in place. And now there will be a clever screwdriver. It seems like a cross, but also with a pimple. But I unscrew it with just a thin, flat screwdriver. And how correctly is the flat screwdriver straight? I didn't ask myself this question. Another one of those things. I will still try to put it together more or less later. I won't fully assemble it. Why? Because this phone turned out to be tied to a carrier. Not only is it without a subscriber identity module card, but it was also brought from somewhere else and sold to people. They were happy with their purchase of a new little phone, but it just doesn't work with our carriers, and it can't be unlocked. At least I couldn't find a service that would do this. Here it is. Here it is, this little thing. This is the antenna. I can't lift the board because something is holding it, and what's holding it is the antenna's sheath. This antenna, it's only on phones for the American market. It leads right to this plastic window for the antenna. Through it passes the input provided is not a metric system unit. Please provide a valid metric system unit such as kilometers, meters, grams, etc. Signal and immediately sends all the data to the reptiloids and other Illuminati. Damn, I hope I won't get banned for such words. And what if I love conspiracy theories? And the end is almost the final part. And what do we have here? And here we have an antenna. It was just attached. We get it, it's there. Here are the brains of this device. This is the motherboard. 14 such a little one, sandwich board. That is, it is made of two parts. And there are elements from the top, and there are elements inside, and here. 5G antenna goes in here, but there is no connector for the SIM card connector here. By the way, the plastic cap remained on the motherboard. There is one more element we haven't talked about. It's this little round thing. It's a wireless charger, meaning there is a coil inside through which the charging takes place. It is attached to the motherboard with a sleeve. It charges your phone when it's on a wireless charger on some holder. Straight, right where the apple is, this coil is located here. Therefore, you don't need to attach any magnets here, which are needed for the car holder or anything else. It simply won't work at night. Well, we've disassembled another device on my channel. In this case, it was 14. If you didn't watch the whole video, rewind, there are interesting moments there. No need to fuss with the iPhone. Respect to the engineers, everything is beautifully and neatly done. In principle, even under home conditions, it can be disassembled. Well, of course, there are nuances there with the adhesive, with the screws. I don't even have some screws, but we still managed. Write in the comments, what can we disassemble on my channel? I will definitely disassemble something. Thanks for watching. Hit the likes. Bye. Tim, I apologize for being so rude to you at the start of the video. We disassembled the violet iPhone without a subscriber identity module card. You did it beautifully, respected the engineers, pass it on. Everyone is happy now.